Okay, let's take a look at some of the basic components of this particular scene for Jana. And let's just start out here, obviously, with our avatars. And we'll go down and turn on what I like to have as a work light. And just give us some basic lighting. I built the positioned the avatars at the ground level, as it were. And when I brought in my terrain, now I did make a terrain in another program called View, and it's a little different, but obviously you could use any of the terrains that come with iClone with no problem. But this was the terrain. Now it is way below the ground line, as you can see. So let's turn off the grid with Control G. Okay, and now let's add some other elements. Basic elements. We had a couple of stones. I think this was the Fantasy Rock collection, and did some modification to them, but not a lot. I mean, I did certainly size them probably larger than they would normally have come. And let's see, I think we've got a few more here. Fantasy Rock, and it's probably all the bigger rocks. There's one more. Okay, right there. So that was pretty much how I laid that out. And yes, of course, I'm sure I resized those rocks. But that was the basic layout of the scene. And then, of course, we had some water. And as I remember, this is pretty much just the standard water. Pretty much, I tweaked the size of the waves, probably, on that to get it to look a little more realistic for the size. And the next big thing probably would have been the sky. I used a sky image that I found on one of my favorite websites. I'll go ahead and click them. cgtextures.com. They have skies, 360-degree sky images, and it's free. You can pay a small fee and get very large files. Very reasonable size. So it's got all kinds of great textures. So I use that site a lot for textures. So I found a sky backdrop with some mountains that I liked. Notice it breaks off right there, but that wasn't a problem because I'm going to frame it just for the camera, and not a problem there. So then I guess the next big elements would be the foliage, and that was a crucial part of it, are the trees. And getting the trees positioned. And I mean, you know, some of these trees are obviously just hanging out here in space, but once again, it's designed for the camera. I've rotated some of these trees and got them, you know, just where I wanted them, just for the camera positioning. They don't necessarily have to touch the ground, as this one doesn't. It's really designed strictly for the camera. And let's see, here we are. Let's see, reverse my boom shot. And so here was a one shot here, as you can see. That was the move, and that was the positioning of the trees and the foliage and everything. So gives you a sense of scale, especially with that background.
Next thing we probably
sky map look at is the atmosphere, scene, the coloring. I went for a obviously a very green, jungly feel, and by doing that, let me turn off this work light right now. And what I did was work with the atmosphere and work with fog. And so I gave it a fog color. I've got a start distance of 4,000 and then 12,000 on the end. Affect the sky, and started giving me a misty look there. And then, of course, I on this particular version, I thought it might be nice to have the sun, so I created a little sun object there, kind of glowing as it goes down. Not terribly realistic, but it's a cool look, I thought, so might as well stay with it. And then added some light from the fire. We haven't added all our props in yet, but it's this one here. There we go. There's the light from the fire that's lit, and got that. And once again, camera placement is crucial. You only want to see what you've set up. I always like to have some foreground elements when I'm doing a boom or dolly shot. It helps give you some distance, perspective, depth, and that's always a good thing to do. So definitely want to plan the placement of your foliage and everything. And then also, of course, as far as atmosphere goes, added some HDR effect here, and I gave it some glows, a little bit of glow, light there. And it's not terrible. There it is. Got a little bit of glow there. It's very subtle. Don't like to go overboard with that. You can easily do too much of that effect, and so you just play with that look till you get what you want. But gives us a nice bit of perspective. Also added the fireflies, as it were, with the particle effects, and they were turned on here. And there we can see the firefly effects down here, and they add a nice little touch. It's maybe hard to see in our version here, but you can position those firefly glows. So, and just playing with lights. So that's the basic layout. Relatively simple as far as I'm concerned. I think you'll find that it is. It worked out very nice. Gives a nice depth. We selected our cameras, and let's see. Here's our front shot. Let's see. I think I had another light on here. I may have had another light, so probably need to turn that on. There we go. There's a light there, and tweak that. So I think that gives you, hopefully that gives you a good idea of how to lay out basic elements of a scene to get a particular look that you're after. It's pretty much all about the placement of the lights, utilizing the fog. Now, if you want to give it a daylight feel for more daytime, once again, it's just playing with lighting and adding the lights that you want and adjusting things for that particular look. So you could take the fog out probably, and let's bring that tab up and create a totally different look. Take down probably some of the HDR effect and create a daytime look. So that's possible too. Just simply by changing the lighting, we've got an entirely different feel for the shot. I noticed that if I rotated the sky around and brought the mountains more into the shot, it helped that reverse shot too. So once again, gave it depth, utilizing depth of field, of course, for the camera shot. That helps to give you the look you want, but you know, you can tweak that as well to create the look that you need. And let's play with that light some more. Got a light there, got a light here for the fire. Turn that off. Let's go back to our atmosphere here, turn the fog back on, like so. And so the having the mountains in the background also once again adds more to the depth of that shot. And once again, it's all about just, you know, playing with your light. Get your lights where you want them, tweak them, and sometimes I'll tweak them shot by shot. But definitely create a project scene for each major shot. Makes a big difference. So hopefully that'll give you some ideas.